bitch, I'm that damn good. Smoking on some good, some rosy on the wood. Standing on the shit so you can get it understood. It's pedigree in me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good.
Smoking on some good, something rosy on the wood. And bitch, I got the belt, so you just get it understood. It's pedigree in me because I'm that damn good. Bitch, I'm that damn good.
Big old body, I'm turning. Big old wood, I'm burning. Big old booty, I'm yearning. Big old fucks, I'm burning. Put a new run designer. But you know Rico behind her. I'm out to keep it that way, yeah. She ain't living like China. Earning my stripes like referee. I put a ring on the Stephanie. Me and the team is building a legacy, winning the gold separately. It's time to play.
Yay! Yo, it's your boy Dame Don, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially here. I don't know why I always say we are officially here. Like, I don't know why I do that, but we are here. It is episode 5 that we are going to get into the NXT releases. We're going to get into Adam Cole, this big meeting he had with Vince. We're going to get into Keith Lee. We're going to get into WWE 2K22, and we're going to do all of that right now. So firstly, I just want to jump right in, and I just want to say, wow. WWE just released another 15 wrestlers this past Friday, literally 7 days ago today. And some of the names that I just can't even believe they released are Bobby Fish, Mercedes Martinez, Jake Atlas. I know a lot of people don't maybe know Jake Atlas, but he was on like this TV show on NBC where they were like finding people with deep-rooted like wrestling stories. And so I had connected to him through that show, and he was just released. Bronson Reed was just released, and I remember I was just talking to you guys about how I felt Bronson Reed was, killing it in NXT. I think that was the first episode we spoke about that. Triple H is actually, he's the person over NXT. He was not in charge of those releases. This was something that they said that Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis, and Vince McMahon made these cuts for NXT. This was not something that was decided for Triple H. You see, I'm wearing my Nobody's Bitch shirt because, we acknowledge Roman Reigns. I know this was back when he didn't acknowledge him, but we all together now and we acknowledge him. And I feel like it was only a couple of these made because they told me it was like special order or something. And once I got it, they were like not even on the site anymore. So I feel like there's only a couple of these out here. Also, guys, I want to say that I am going to SummerSlam for Vegas. I want to know, would you guys like to see that in a vlog for next week's wrestling episode? Well, not next week, but the week after that. Would you like to see that in a vlog? I think next week I'm going to drop a vlog of my WWE Milwaukee experience. And so that you guys can kind of see the full experience, I'll go ahead and drop the pictures, the videos. And of course, I'll do like a little bit of an intro, but that'll be my video for next week. Because by the time it should be dropping, I'll be on a flight. Well, I should be on a flight. I'll be on a flight on my way to Vegas for SummerSlam. Also, another question. I want to take the title to Vegas, right? But I kind of don't want to put it in my bag because, there's been horror stories about them stealing titles out of bags. They stole Dolph Ziggler's title out of his bag. So I feel like I'm just going to walk through the airport with the title on my shoulder. Is that doing too much? Is that doing too much? And I feel like if people think that I'm somebody, I'm just gonna go with that. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you're the WWE champion." I am. Nice to meet you, Bobby Lashley. I am. It's so nice to meet you. It's so nice to meet you. So it does look like there was a statement released. I'm not sure if this was. Well, firstly, before we get into that. So apparently these releases, these NXT releases happened because NXT is supposed to be doing some type of rebranding. Like they're rebranding the whole brand, I guess. And one of the things that supposedly was said that came out was they don't want any more older talent. They don't want any more shorter talent. They basically said no more old people, no more midgets. And I forgot the last one, no more fat guys or something like that. And that Bronson Reed was released, and for a couple weeks, they were having him come up to the main roster and do dark matches. And dark matches again are They're just for the audience and the people in the back. So they do these dark matches to see if they want to bring up the talent. And it came out today that Vince said that he didn't like him because he was too big and too fat and too short. Like he was too short to be as big as he was, is basically what they said. I don't really know how much of that I believe, but they did say that Vince said that he wasn't calling him up, and so since they decided not to call him up, that was ultimately the reason that he was released. I do kind of believe that, because I feel like Vince is kind of in the mindset of, if it's not WWE, like he's still in the mindset that everybody wants to work in WWE. And I feel like that is true to a certain extent, but there's so many different ball games out here now. Like there's AEW, TNA, New Japan, MLW. Like there's this is like the perfect time to be a wrestler, perfect time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, you can literally go anywhere. So next I want to jump into WWE 2K22. So the roster may be fine. I know that there's been a lot of panic, not only on the internet, but also with me too. They've released about, like we said, it's pretty much 200 wrestlers now since the pandemic started in March. That's gonna kind of leave the roster pretty much lackluster. There was a statement that was released. I'm not sure how official the statement was, but the statement essentially said that there's a certain deadline that people have to be approved and not approved. And, you know, if they were already in before the deadline, you know, we'll be fine. So I think with people like Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, I think guys like that will be in, but I don't think we'll get like the Iconics and Mickie James and Chelsea Green. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be getting those. There's so many people, I can't even really think of all the names. So apparently last week, Adam Cole had a high-level meeting with Vince McMahon backstage, and I guess Vince McMahon took a personal liking to Adam Cole. It's being reported that they offered Adam Cole a $1 million deal per year, like $1 million per year. And I just feel like wrestlers are so underpaid. Before we even keep going, like you have these basketball players that are making, you know, 17, 20 million a year, and they're not even on the road half the time. Wrestlers are legitimately getting these rentals and driving themselves. Like you don't get to ride on a bus with your full team. Like you get a rental and you drive yourself to the next town. Like you really only get a bus if you're like Randy Orton or John Cena or The Undertaker. Then like you have a bus with a bed and shit like that. But for the most part, these wrestlers are sleeping in their cars. They're driving from, you know, Chicago to Milwaukee to Detroit to Minneapolis. Like they're driving these places, driving themselves. And I feel like they are just so underpaid, it's ridiculous. Like LeBron James would never drive himself to his own show. Like Giannis would never drive himself to his own show after a pay-per-view. And Randy Orton was doing that for a while. He didn't just get a bus all of a sudden. Like Randy Orton would win the title and then probably, you know, have to drive himself to the next town. And you have to do that until you reach a certain level, a certain status. So a $1 million deal is considered a lot in wrestling, though. Like it's considered a lot, because when Becky Lynch got her $1 million contract last year or the year before that, it was a really big deal. And it is a big deal to get a guaranteed $1 million every year, but for everything that they're doing, they are so underpaid as a whole. Like I feel like all wrestlers are extremely, extremely underpaid. We Want Wyatt chants have returned to Monday Night Raw. It looks like the We Want Wyatt chants are going to be a thing now, especially every time Alexa is wrestling. And they're still cheering for Alexa, so it's not like a they hate Alexa thing. It's just they want Wyatt. We need Wyatt to complete this story. Like Alexa being this evil person with Lily doesn't make any sense now without Bray Wyatt. It makes no sense. Like I was completely on board with it because I knew at some point Bray Wyatt was going to come back and maybe take control of her, or she was going to take control of him. Like I was very optimistic about that. Like I knew something was going to happen. But since they've released him, obviously nothing is going to come of this. So like it almost makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Elias has thrown his guitar in the smoke and the fire or whatever, and they're saying that Elias is dead. Thank God. I'm not a fan of Elias. I've never liked Elias. I don't like his concerts. I do like to chant at the live shows when he was a face. He would say WWE stands for, and the crowd would say walk with Elias. That was probably the only thing I liked about Elias, and I only liked doing that because I was there live. I don't like the Jason Riker dude that he was partnered with, and that's turned on him, and they're trying to make a face. Don't like him either. I feel like Elias was always kind of like my bathroom break, and I don't care what he was doing, who he was in a program with. I wasn't watching it. Like, I just wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan. I know a couple weeks ago we talked about Keith Lee stating that he was going to be coming back to do not coming back, but he stated that he was going to be making a video addressing his absence, and he did just recently release that. And in the video, he just pretty much stated that he had COVID, and then Mia Yim caught COVID taking care of him. That she was offered a spot in the Royal Rumble, but she wouldn't leave Keith Lee's side due to him having COVID. She wouldn't leave his side. Yeah, it in turn cost her a spot in the Royal Rumble. So he was basically just stating how there's MRI machines, and he's bigger, so he can't fit in the MRI machines. But I feel like this is why it is so important to not believe dirt sheets. And that is also another reason this podcast is called Common Sense Incoming, because y'all take every dirt sheet and y'all read it, and y'all clearly have no common sense about the issue. Like people were stating that he wasn't there because WWE was holding him back. Even I said I thought that Vince sent him home to lose weight, but that wasn't the case. But I didn't get that assumption from a dirt sheet. Those people saying that WWE was trying to own his name and Mia Yim was holding him back, and actually WWE and Mia Yim were actually the only people trying to help him at this time. I feel like that's really why it is important to, take those dirt sheets for a grain of salt, because they obviously report anything. Next, I want to talk about Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair at SummerSlam for the Women's Championship. I'm very excited about this. I will be there live. I am rooting for Bianca Belair, but part of me does feel like Sasha is going to get that title. If Bianca does retain, that'll be a very, very big win for Bianca twice to retain. Bianca should definitely retain because it would keep her it would elevate her title reign more. But I feel like once you continue to build up Bianca Belair, who are you going to have beat her? Because once she does, so say she does beat Sasha, at what point or who do you have take the title from Bianca? Because she's at that point would have been to beat everybody pretty much, no? Because the SmackDown roster is so small because they pretty much released everybody. So, I mean, she's beat Carmella, she's beat Bayley, and Bayley is out for 9 months. I think she tore her ACL or something. Zelina Vega, and Sasha Banks. So we'll see. That's 4 challengers, but again, the roster is kind of thin. So I would actually love if Bianca retained the title, and then on SmackDown, Roman is like to Jimmy, go get your wife Naomi. We're taking over everything, and then have Naomi a part of the bloodline, and have a heel Naomi with the bloodline take the title from Bianca Belair. That would be great. Because I do love Naomi, and I do love the glow thing, the bring it to the floor. I do love that. I do feel like it fits her, but I feel like I love it more when they bring it back in 2 or 3 years. I feel like she just needs something new. She needs a heel turn. She needs to let out some of that frustration that she has. Because Naomi is always one of those wrestlers that just kind of seems like nothing is bothering her, but I feel like she definitely has some pent-up aggression. She had fans made her delete her Twitter because they were blaming her for Jimmy's DUIs. I feel like she should just really turn heel and just lay it into the fans and take that title from Bianca as a heel. That's how I would book that if I had the pen. Next, speaking of how I would book something, it does look like Roman Reigns versus John Cena versus Finn Balor is actually going to be a thing. And I honestly only feel like this is going to be a thing is because right after SummerSlam, Cena has to film a movie. Cena cannot take a risk in getting hurt wrestling a full main event match. So I do feel like they're going to add Finn to this match, just to protect John Cena. I just don't see John Cena wrestling a full match. When they had the show here in WWE Milwaukee, he just came in and did his moves, and I think he took a spear, but he did the 5-knuckle shuffle and the FU, and that was pretty much it. Like, it wasn't really any room for error for him to get injured in that amount of time. So I do feel like they're going to add Balor to that match just for the simple fact of they want to protect John Cena. Cena has to do a movie right after, and he cannot risk being injured. Next, I want to move into Impact. First of all, Melina has debuted in Impact, and Melina looks better now, I feel like, than she did back when she was in the WWE. She still did the split entrance, still has the best entrance in the business, and it looks like she's going to be taking on Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Women's Championship. The women of Impact have been absolutely killing it, and Deonna is most certainly leading that charge. Deonna has been absolutely on fire. Deonna Purrazzo went after Tony Khan, basically stating that she wanted more women to be able to wrestle on both shows. Because with the men right now, like Kenny Omega is an AEW superstar and he's TNA's world champion. So everybody's kind of wrestling everywhere for everything. But you're not really seeing that with the women. I personally would love to see like Deonna Purrazzo versus Britt Baker. I know Big Swole had expressed frustration about that because when Kiera Hogan, partner Tasha, I think her name is, when they were Flamin' Flav, I think, they were kind of undefeated and they were saying, oh, who can defeat them? And I remember Big Swole making a tweet like, oh, well, if you gave somebody an opportunity, basically hinting at themselves, like, because there's been really no women that have went through that door. Jordan actually said something about that too. Is her name Jordan or Jocelyn? Big Mama Pump? I can't think of her real name. I think that they need more of the women going to these other shows, and I feel like the more that they complain about it, the more that it'll happen. It looks like Kenny Omega and Christian are actually going to fight on AEW's new show, AEW Revamped. I actually kind of feel like it's too soon for them to have a third show already, and they're only 2 years in. Technically, it's only their second show. It's their second show on TV. It actually might be their fourth show now that I think about it. I mean, I do have my DVR set. I do kind of feel like it's too soon, but we'll see what comes of it. I think it was very smart for them to make the show start after SmackDown because you're definitely not beating SmackDown, and SmackDown can kind of be a lead into that. So I do think that was kind of smart, but I mean, we'll see how it plays out. I do think it's kind of too soon. Dante Martin, 20-year-old high flyer, impressed the shit out of me facing the Elite with who was on his team? Evan Bourne or Matt Sydal is his new name, or his real name. His other partner, I don't remember his partner's name, but they were facing the Elite. And this Dante Martin kid truly, truly impressed me. Like, the moves he was doing, he was moving so fluid. And as JR was saying, he was just getting started in the wrestling business. So I feel like he has a very, very bright future in him, and I just can't wait to see where that goes. I'm really intrigued by this Cody Rhodes, Malachi Black story that they have going on. I feel like they play off of each other very well. I feel like it's really cool to see Malachi Black, Tommy End, Aleister Black just kind of in his element doing whatever he wants to do. You can kind of tell that he kind of has some freedom. I felt like that match last week where he beat Cody just simply stepping on his chest, that was tremendous. They're building Malachi up to be like this huge player in the game, and I really think that's good for him. I really think that's what they need for him. But I feel like everybody in AEW for the most part is almost undefeated or only has like 1 or 2 losses. So like, it's interesting to see how they're going to start having these people lose, because like Miro has been on fire. I think he's undefeated. Aleister Black, undefeated. He's only had 1 match, but he's still undefeated. I think Cody Rhodes has only had like 2 losses. So I kind of like how they play this, because you can kind of tell that they do really kind of care about the win-loss record. So that is pretty cool. I am going to say Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, is OVER. Dr. Britt Baker is an amazing talent right now. She's really found her groove. Britt Baker is on another level right now. I know a lot of people are trying to compare her to Becky Lynch, and with that, I think I just want to say, just slow down. Baker is great, and she did get an amazing reception in Pittsburgh, but we have to remember Pittsburgh is her hometown. Wrestling fans always go crazy for their hometown heroes, and I feel like Britt is great, but I feel like that Becky Lynch comparison is just not, it's not it. Like, it's not it. And also, I just want to jump back to Impact quick. It does look like Brian Myers is the #1 contender, and Christian Cage and Kenny Omega are actually going to fight for the Impact title on Revamp, AEW's new show. So you see what I mean? Like the AEW title or the Impact title is being defended on an AEW show. So like there's no reason why the women shouldn't be able to wrestle where and wherever they want. After that match, it looks like Kurt Hawkins, Brian Myers is the new #1 contender, and we'll just kind of see what takes place with that. It does look like it's slowly but surely being confirmed that CM Punk is indeed on his way to AEW. That CM Punk confirmed that he'll be in Chicago on the date of the AEW show. And of course, he would be there because he lives there, but we'll see. Just jumping around here, Bray Wyatt, CM Punk, and Daniel Bryan joining AEW. If they all are joining, if it is true that they are all on the way, it does look like Bray Wyatt followed Tony Khan on Twitter. If this is true, I feel like this is going to be a complete shift in the wrestling world. I personally would love to see Wyatt go back to WWE. I would love to see Braun go back to WWE. I just kind of feel like that's where they belong. I feel like the fact that Wyatt was even released, I just feel like that is so crazy to me still. Just because of everything he was doing with The Fiend, I definitely believe that in some way, shape, or form, pretty much everybody that was released will make their way back to the WWE. That is my hope, especially the Iconics, Bray Wyatt. Zelina Vega came back, Samoa Joe came back, so I do feel like it's possible to get these people back. But some of these people, I do think they are going to flourish since being out of the WWE. If Bray Wyatt does not come back, he's going to flourish. Buddy Murphy is going to flourish. Iconics are going to flourish. Mickie James is flourishing. Chelsea Green flourishing. Zack Ryder flourishing. Like, these people are going to be fine. I think these people are going to be fine. But that is all I have for this week. Next week, we are going to do my experience from the WWE Milwaukee show. And then after that, we'll go ahead and do the vlog Vegas from my Las Vegas experience at SummerSlam as well. I thank you guys so much for rocking out with me on this episode. I do appreciate the support. But make sure y'all here next week when we discuss the zodiac signs, the traits, the experiences, all that astrology, astrologists, all that. We here, we out here. See you Monday.
What's the road, dog? That nigga cold, dog. I got a cold shoulder for a fuck nigga if he prove he a mog. I'm pulling up, I got the hammer. I threw an X on the banner. She ain't there throwing that ass at me, but I would not fuck if she Bama.